Tharchin Sanila. Tambangi Pugin Tikashi Shuchoji. I'm going to start speaking in Tibetan for a few minutes. Ani Tamade Tamate Tarin Karishan Zomre. Didi Namazak Nieja Gamashungi. Ani Canadian missing issue. Danashi Ani Canada Nangla Pudu. 다 우불그 탑들을 레고빙게 초관이라 또 예제 중원용보는 예제 땅한다 어디라 안남부서 왜네 남시 된자 정말라 아니 동생님이 다가나시기 별빙도 찍어이 잡서체가 또 스페어들라 안 초관하게 또 고르 제어당에 캐나다 배들 현조 탑시도 투지체쇼인 당들라 딱 그생 안저 네가 저들 망고지 중어를 녀와 가르신 땅어래는 아니 녀와 되기 녀가 가르래는 딩여 또소스게 넘어서 페이지 다 막힌 거 여머게 망보시 다른 고급들은 가르신도 좀 나왔나 딱 먼저 내가 즉 제어될 겸이 녀와 땅으로 이니 먼저 내가 수익 돈도 지고 아니 대소 땅고에도 돈도 이렇게 여머로 참에 키면 먼저 가르신 제거를 변낭라 변미속이 된다라 내가 저거로 아니 딩냠도로 저 신부 땅에서 개천부 가려들라나 먼저 때라 내가 저어디 변낭도 팽기도 뇌기도 변낭도 벽에 미 변미사야 두이 말씀도 여러 콘솔랑 가지고 내가 내 저어디기 뇌기야나 니수지래 팽기야나 니수지 레고 가르 저어 있네로 팽기도 뇌기도 공부시하고 뺏겨 정거려져 당한저 캐나다 표준 연수 장아리라 고추제 지루직동 국제 개주 개든 고추아래 다부터 로슨주 속에 차워 내가 가르 제와이나로 안 제와이나를 냥냥을 긴진 제와이나를 내가 참 가르 제와래 표현도 핑기래 말 디체제 먼저기 니동 니슈 2020 게 지도 중이라 아니 개부 shum에게 레고들라 조조군이 아니 도스 가족 잡교 뒤쳐 갈란 타만데라로 나란조 되는 즉 내가 제게니 제게라제 하게 평균명화나 안고 양 미세게 자나게 독소 체제 강에 제게나 네 양아서 공부 시험을 뺏겨서 와 뒤인도 갈라 아니 즉딱 타만데라 졸링주 용제 아니 범위 직속에 고차다 다는 야롱제 고차다 아니 점심 고차 바로라 주미 다이얼로그 주고도 네 규네 안 별로 즉 덴타 즉 세토게나 안디 먼저게 초고에게 던다지 루토스는 먼저게 미게 느끼는 내가 좋아 단 레고 초박에 도스 넘버스 자기세요 있는 먼저게 레고 망쳐 찍으라다 별로 지가 미망로 태용선 내가 지원도 갈라로 재미게 데디 초고되게 아니 지다 단단다 조조템이 공로 쇼래 진짜 중니 세주닝라 캐나다기 캐나 미게라 sanction 쇼 딜러 랜록제 안 캐나디안 미세 니슈 안데 불랑아저 캐나다 부들런저기 민가 추데요 이네 됐다도 레고들랑아저 미다견 샤셔 다디 네 당기 공도 쇼나시 베베 초고 차셔지 레버 찍 저거라 다이는 아저도 캐나다 불러 미세 차데도 캐나디안 미세게 아저게 랭겐저 캐나디안 미세디 랭겐저 가르쳐되어라나 디 롱바들랑 아저 고갑이 약보실래도 디 망조들 숨격체 내가 차데요 디 망조들 숨격 가르쳐라나 딱 데벨로 숨시스랑 자나숑기 캐나다가 망조들라로 비저로고 땅제 니슈트기 어디 참세어 저조견이 시고로 슝견이 시고로 사고박 시고로 이는 디불랑 안주기 베베기 탑쇼지 냠슈 쳐봐 뺏겨서 쳐고 디 냠슈라 아니 니동 니스탄이네 진 다보도 저절라 슝기 주셔 여기 초중라 잘 숨자제 슈도 제와 인신게 참는 것이 딱 같은 야나기 예왔다는 거 먼저 갈라고 그래 fake witness 라고 fake witness 또 나파갈라 witness는 도는 슈도 제와 딱 먼저 갈라고 그래 그냥 저기 아니 시용게 대바이나를 신범 민유시디 아니 야나기 된데서 독적 당게 되는 게 시에게 갈라고 딱 fake란 하고 그러다 근데 저기 야라주고 딩냠도라 야나 tor시 땅게 threat to national security, sovereignty, and development interests 나제 근데 야라 전부 주고 이 땅에 도도지 쇼지 아니 인진이 찍하지 쇼지 so first of all thank you very much for coming in this freezing weather but as we all know when it comes to the issue of human rights, when it comes to the issue of Tibet, Tibetans have never shied away, have never been afraid of attending event like this or sacrificing their lives when it comes to it. We all know that more than 165 Tibetans have burned themselves to death. For what? Because we have been frustrated that the international community is not paying attention despite extreme deterioration of human rights situation inside Tibet. It's been more than 65 years since we lost our independence. It's been more than 65 years when China illegally invaded, military-led invasion of Tibet. More than 60 nations have gained independence since we lost our independence. So it's on us to speak out, not just on human rights issues, but also on the political status of Tibet. Because at the end of the day, Tibet issue is not just issue of human rights. It's also a political issue, an issue of one nation invading another nation. In 51, Canada's former foreign minister, Lester Pearson, wrote a letter to Canada's ambassador in Washington, D.C. about the recognizing that Tibet does seem to qualify for a state of independence. So there's a historic documents, and I'm giving this example of Canada because we are Canadians. But today, after 65 years, the international community doesn't talk about Tibet as an issue of political. We have been reduced to issue of minority, ethnic minority. We have been reduced to an issue of human rights. Not that I don't consider human rights issue as an important. Human rights issue is very important for all of us. But Tibet issue is more than that. And so, Canada Tibet Committee, since its establishment in 1987, we have been trying to push for Canada's support at parliamentary level, at government level, at think tank level, to get support for the Sino-Tibet to resolve this conflict. And so we pushed for resumption of dialogue between the representative of Chinese government and Tibetan representative. And so we worked with all 5 political parties in Canada. Personally, I have worked with all 5 political parties since 2018 as I joined Canada Tibet Committee. And we have had extremely strong supporters in Canada. We're fortunate that, one, we have a unifying leader in His Holiness the Dalai Lama, who is well recognized, well regarded, well respected, not just in Canada as an honorary Canadian citizen, but across the world. So, coming back to the point of, I don't really need this. Okay, so why we gathered here today? We gathered here because you want to show solidarity with 20 Canadians who are sanctioned, including the Uyghur advocates, including the professors and academics from University of Ottawa, including the disinformation experts like my friend Marcus Kolga, and of course 5 members from Canada Tibet Committee. And why were we targeted? The immediate answer is China claimed it as a countermeasure to Canada's gag sanctioning of 8 Chinese officials. But along with that, China accused us of being threat to what they call national security, sovereignty, and development interests. Now, if you pay attention to China's foreign policy, this labeling threat to national security, sovereignty, and development interests goes to the highest level of China's Xi Jinping vision for China, which is rejuvenation of Chinese nation aimed for 2049, marking the 100th anniversary of the formation of PRC. So that level of allegation is a big threat. It may be just within the boundary of sanction, but when it comes to actual implementation, because in China, nothing goes as per what is theoretically mentioned. Theoretically, Tibet is promised as an autonomous region. What we all know, is there a real genuine autonomy in Tibet today? No. Our rights to language, our rights to religion, our rights to education are taken away. Chinese constitution promised national autonomy law for ethnic minorities. But does that actually happen in reality? No. So today, I want to tell you that what is symbolically announced as a sanction to this 20 Canadian can be misused by ultra-nationalists supporting the CCP, who are part of United Front work, which does the propaganda work for Chinese. And we have already seen the example of it. Chair of Canada Tibet Committee Board, Sampil Halungba, has received a call telling him that they know the exact address, and they told him that this is your address. And they told him that they know where they go at what time of the day, in which places in Ottawa. And if you look at Twitter account of Canada Files, a so-called investigative journalism group has been collecting information in Canada Tibet Committee for the last 3.5 years. And in the Twitter file, you will see assassination threat for Canada Tibet Committee members. Fake Twitter accounts are calling to dig more information about these 20 Canadian individuals. So this is the reason that I've been asking for the last 3 weeks since we were sanctioned, that as a community, as a Canadian, we need to speak up. And this is not just a Tibetan issue. This is also a Canadian issue. We are all Canadians in this country. We have two responsibilities. At least that's the way I see it. As a representative of Canada Tibet Committee, yes, I have a responsibility as a representative of CTC to speak for human rights in Tibet, but I also have a responsibility as a Canadian citizen to speak for the protection, preservation of democracy in Canada. The PRC foreign interference in Canada, which has been happening for decades, has come into limelight since the last 2-3 years. And I've personally testified in the government-established public inquiry, Parliamentary Committee on Foreign Interference. And as a result, we have been called what China deemed us as a fake witness, fake victims. So clearly, what we are doing is affecting the Chinese authority in Beijing. Otherwise, this unprecedented sanction wouldn't have been happened to ordinary Canadian citizen. I'm just an ordinary advocate. I'm not a government official. I'm not parliamentarian. So thank you very much once again for showing your solidarity. Thank you for showing your solidarity and support. I really appreciate. We need all the support we can get. This is not about me. This is not about CTC. This is not about Sherab. This is not about my friend Yungdu or about Sampila. This is attack on Tibet advocacy in Canada. The sustainability of groups like CTC is important for the sustainability of Tibet advocacy in Canada. Thank you.